Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hope your week is off to a great start. Been working on a ton of videos this week, shooting a lot, writing a lot, also just a ton of tests, and it's been a lot of fun. There's been some videos that I've had to reshoot portions of them because I just keep making new discoveries and want to make sure that these videos are some of the most detailed ones I've put out yet. So SSD guide is hopefully coming out tomorrow. I've got a little bit more work to put together on it. I'll be getting on that as soon as we're done with this stream right now. But I wanted to start by just talking about a couple of new pieces of gear. The first thing is the OWC Studio Stack. And this I saw announced last year towards the end of the year, and I thought this thing looked amazing. So this is a Mac Studio Thunderbolt 5 dock, and they did a great job at taking advantage of the massive size of this. So I asked OWC to send me this, and they were kind enough to send me this to test. But what's cool about this is you actually can flip it over. You take this cover off the bottom of it, and then you're able to put your own NVMe in, as well as a SATA hard drive or an SSD. Hey, thanks for joining the stream today too. Appreciate you being on. Feel free to leave a comment if you're watching later or if you're watching live too. I love reading what you guys have to say. But this the Studio Stack is basically a Thunderbolt 5 dock, but it's gigantic. So here's their Thunderbolt 5 hub, and you can tell this thing is way larger. But what's nice about this is they take advantage of the extra size of it, and they went ahead and they gave you that SSD or hard drive slot, and there's also an NVMe slot. So the one I got came with a 6 terabyte HDD as well as a 1 terabyte NVMe. And I keep filling the 1 terabyte NVMe up in it while I've been editing my videos on it, so I need to open it up and put one of my 2 or 8 terabyte SSDs in this to test it. But the OWC one has been great. There's also an extra 3 Thunderbolt ports on this. Couple USB ports. 2 of the USB ports are on the side, which I'm not really sure why they put those there. Maybe they thought it'd look a little cleaner to have them off to the side, and it gives you more of a seamless look with your Mac Studio. But I don't know, this thing has been really great. I really like it. I've been testing it running more SSDs on the ports. I've also been using it for some card readers, and I've even been able to put the ultra wide monitor that I've got back there, plug that in as well, and that's all worked just fine with the Studio Stack. The biggest drawback to any of these docking stations that have an SSD built in though is the SSDs run slower on them if you're using the ports on the back for other things. So basically, the more stuff you plug into the OWC Studio Stack, the slower the SSD is going to go. So when there was nothing plugged into this except for the Mac Studio, I was hitting like 5,000 megabytes a second on the read and the write, which was really great. But once I had plugged in the ultra wide monitor and a couple of other things to the back, the speeds were going down to about 2,800 megabytes a second on the write, and I think I was still getting about 5,000 on the read. I didn't notice this slowing down or giving me any issues. Just be aware that you're not going to get those top speeds the more devices you plug into this. So you may still want to actually plug your displays from your computer in directly to the computer. Thunderbolt 5 is confusing me a little bit because they say it's supposed to have 120 gigabit bandwidth boost, so it saves 40 gigabits a second for your monitor. But that doesn't seem to be functioning quite correctly for me with certain things because I'm still running into some slowdowns the more devices I have plugged in. But that's just something that comes with the territory of a docking station, and really you should try to choose if you're going to use the docking station for storage, or if you can help it, it's always best to plug the storage directly into your computer to get the fastest possible speed. So here's a couple of the SSDs we've been testing recently. I've actually got a new spreadsheet I just made this afternoon. You can find the link for it in the chat, as well as it should be in the description as well. This has all of my SSD speed tests on it. I'm going to try and show you guys this. So here's all my different speed tests that I've done on every single SSD that I own. So we've got the Crucial X9 Pro, X10 Pro, which are about to be discontinued, unfortunately, Samsung T9, T7 Shield, T7 Standard. And what's cool about this spreadsheet is you can see my 100 gigabyte transfer test as well as 500 gigabyte transfer tests. And then I've also got read and write on them. And the read and the write, I may end up tweaking those a bit later. Read and write is kind of hard to track. You run it with Blackmagic Disk Speed Test. And then I usually just write down the number that I'm seeing for the longest or about where it seems to hang out. So the read and the write are kind of rough numbers. It's hard to get exact on those. And then I put 4 terabyte pricing on January 27, 2026. I'm kind of tempted to take this column out because a couple of these, the price already went up again on them. I think the I don't remember which one it was, but one of them had gone up today when I checked. The Pro G40 was on sale for $500 today though, so that one was a little bit cheaper. But you've got links where you can go and you can check these out. This will take you to B&H, Amazon, Best Buy. I think a couple of these you can get at Walmart as well. And I've got a couple NVMEs at the bottom that I really recommend. The NVMe section was also a little bit tricky because a lot of NVMEs keep going out of stock right now. So the 990 Pro, the 9100 Pro are now closer in price than ever. And then SanDisk is actually kind of rebranding. I think they just launched their Optimus line, and now they have like the Creator SSDs. So I haven't tested those specific models yet. I think they're just based on the WD SN850X and the SN7100. But I'll have to do some more research on that and hopefully get in contact with my friends at SanDisk and see if we can get some of those to test them as well. But right now, the Samsung 9100 Pro is probably the best NVMe you can get, and I really recommend that one because if you're going to be spending as much as you're spending on the SSD, you might as well spend a little bit more and get the absolute best. So if you look up here on this chart, we've got the USB 4 and Thunderbolt 3 section, and we've got the Thunderbolt 5 section. And I was actually getting a lot better performance using the 1M2 with the 9100 Pro over the 990 Pro. So that one, like on this 500 gigabyte transfer, that actually really sped it up. It slightly sped up the write speed as well, but it seemed like the sustained workload on the 9100 Pro was quite a bit better than the 990 Pro. And I could also probably end up doing some more tests with some of these enclosures and some of the different NVMEs I have later on. At least as of right now, the 1M2 80G with the 9100 Pro is the best combo I've actually tried out. So that's what I really recommend. And then I've got pricing that I found on the date that I started making this. So I don't think I'm gonna keep tracking the price, but maybe at the end of every month I'll update the price on this. It could be kind of interesting to follow along with the SSD apocalypse that's currently going on, just to see if the prices continue to go up and up and up, or if they've started to stabilize a little bit. At least from what I've seen so far, the prices are not stabilizing on things. So if you want to get one, I still really recommend going ahead and picking them up right now, because it's forecasted that the prices are either going to stay the same or continue to get worse through the rest of 2026. And then hopefully by the beginning of 2027, we're going to see them stabilizing a little bit. Read and write for the 9100 Pro on the Mac Mini M4 Pro. So all of these tests were with my Mac Studio with Thunderbolt 5 ports on the back of it. I didn't use the USB ports on the front of them. So the 9100 Pro with that OWC 1M2 80G enclosure should be pretty close to the tests I did on that. I don't have the M4 Pro Mac Mini right now, but I do have an M4 Pro MacBook. It's over there right now, but I could do that test on that if you wanted me to. Send me a DM or an email on one of my different contact methods if you really want me to do that, and I'll make sure I get back to you on that. Next thing on our list of things to talk about, aside from SSDs, is actually kind of tied together with the M4 Pro Mac Mini, and it's when is the rest of the M5 lineup going to come out? So when's the M5 Mac Mini going to come out? When's the M5 Pro, the M5 Max? Are they going to skip those chips? It's kind of interesting. The other day on Apple's website, they actually changed it where you can't get their computers pre-configured anymore. You have to customize them, which I guess they've done this once or twice in the past, and that has meant that a new launch was about to happen. There were a lot of people who were saying January was when the launch would happen. I think a lot of computers came out at the beginning of March last year, so it'll be interesting to see if that's when they launch them. I guess the Mac Mini has been out for about a year and a half now, the M4 Mac Mini, so it's time for the M5. I'm kind of ready to get an M5 Pro computer to see how that's able to stack up to the M4 Max Mac Studio I've got. I'm also really interested in an M5 Ultra chip, although I'm sure for what I'm doing that would actually be overkill. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see that Apple's removed some of those pre-configured landing pages that are on their website. So if you go to buy, you do have to configure it right now. So if you're looking to buy a computer right now, I would honestly recommend waiting a couple weeks if you can help it, because it seems like those new chips are right around the corner, and that's going to lead to better prices on everything that's already out, like Amazon and B&H and Best Buy. I'll probably be blowing out the older computers. Hopefully we see the new MacBook Air as well. I've got my M4 MacBook Air here, and this thing has been amazing. I'm ready to see what they can do with the M5 MacBook Air. And then also, are they going to put out a new iPad? I don't know. I would love to see them just launch the M5 iPad Air and skip the M4 for the iPad. I think that would be kind of nice if they just had the same chip across those. Next thing to talk about real quick is Apple Creator Studio. And I wanted to make a video about this when they announced it because I actually personally thought it was a really great price. It's $13 a month and you get basically all the different Apple applications like Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro. They're making Creator Studio versions of some of the other applications like Numbers and Keynote and adding in additional AI features and just things like that to it. And the thing that's a little disappointing to me is, at least right now, I think they just launched Final Cut 12. I've been using it for the last week. It's working fine. None of the features for it have been insane to me. None of them have been mind-blowing or like workflow altering, at least yet. But I think that the Creator Studio could hopefully lead to better features in the future due to the increased revenue from charging the subscription price. And $13 a month is pretty reasonable, especially when you compare it to everything that Adobe is doing right now. They just keep raising their prices. I know there's ways you can get discounts on the Adobe software, but to me, the Adobe pricing has just been crazy to watch it continue to grow. I think I'm spending $20 a month right now just to get Photoshop and Lightroom, and also the cloud storage on it is pretty nice too. I'm really liking that, but I'm hoping to be able to get all my files off of the Adobe Creative Cloud and to switch over to using the whole Apple ecosystem. I messed with Photomator a little bit, or Pixelmator, whichever of the two is the Photoshop clone, and then the other one is supposed to be kind of like Lightroom. And it looks like something that would be possible to learn, but it feels very different from Photoshop. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time in getting used to the Apple photo editing apps to make me really feel like I didn't need the Creative Cloud anymore. I'm not doing a ton with Photoshop, but Photoshop has kind of been the standard for basically forever. I took graphic design in high school, so I've been using Photoshop for like 12, 14 years at this point now. So it's just weird to learn a new software from the ground up, and I feel like I sound like an old man saying that, but I just don't like learning new software if I can get around it. But one new software I have been learning is called Gling, and I tried this out a couple months ago and felt like it was okay. I don't know if they put an update out, but Gling is really cool because you can import videos that you shoot, talking videos that is. It's not going to edit just clips for you, but you can put any videos with voices with a storyline, and it transcribes it, and then it automatically cuts out a lot for you, and it's got the text-based editor on the side of it. Then you can export it as Final Cut XML, and that makes editing a lot faster. So the other day I put a video where I was talking for about 30 minutes on it, and that first pass of the video would probably take me a little bit longer than 30 minutes. It usually takes me about 1 to 1.5 minutes per minute that I shot footage to do the initial edit, and it had it done in like 5 minutes. And then I think I spent maybe 5 minutes on the text-based editor, had all the footage into Final Cut Pro, and then I was able to start editing and adding B-roll to it. And there were still some refinements I had to make in Final Cut Pro. Like, it wasn't a finished product, but it actually definitely sped up my initial pass. And I had tested some other AI editors that allow you to just get through your transcript a little bit faster. I hadn't been super impressed with them, but Gling is actually seeming like a pretty promising piece of software. Like, it's definitely got some time savings that it can gift you. So I'll have a link for that in the description as well. This is just something I discovered a few months ago that I'm going to continue to mess with and see if it's really able to save a lot of time, or if it's something where I just find it's just as fast and easy to go through the video on my own. I am a big fan of using AI as a tool to help you get stuff done. I'm not as big of a fan of generative AI, but just being able to like make the menial tasks a little bit faster has been really nice. The thing that's annoying to me though is when some of the AI things, you have to keep putting so much into the prompt to actually get something usable. And then it just feels like, why am I not just doing the work myself? Why am I not just, getting straight to the edit instead of uploading files to the cloud or letting them process? And there was a couple other softwares that I tested that it just felt like I was having to wait too long on it, and I could have been done with it on my own if I didn't use that software instead. I think Descript is another one that's kind of similar to Gling. I'm not sure if they have the full AI-based editor yet. I need to try it again. There were some limitations with it. I tested it back in June or July, I think, and something about the way the scroll on the transcript was working wasn't seeming to make a lot of sense to me. And the other thing with the script is it didn't seem to want to handle weird video formats. So I shoot a lot in 5K and 6K, a lot in OpenGate, where it's a 3:2 footage instead of being 16:9. And it was getting upset with those file types and file sizes and wanting me to like re-render or just import different footage. And to me, that just kind of goes back to what I said about it just slowed things down and didn't make it quite as nice. Yeah, thanks for checking that spreadsheet out. It is serious when there's a spreadsheet. But yeah, some of this AI software that's coming out, it's looking really cool, really promising. I'm really excited for things that are going to save time and add to greater efficiency, because I've got some really big video ideas, but some of them just take a lot of time to actually get the edit done. I've been using a lot with transcription, where I can take the file when I'm done, transcribe it. I use that to create the section chapters for my YouTube videos. That way, whenever you're watching them, you can jump around the video a lot easier. And this is something that if you were doing it manually, it could easily take you 10, 20, 30 minutes of video to do that. And with the AI, it takes like 5 to 10 seconds to create those section chapters. So stuff like that just leads to better usability in the future, to me is a no-brainer to be using. I think that's about all I got time for today, unless anyone's got any questions or things that they're looking for help with. But speaking of video editing, there's definitely a lot of video editing that I still got to get done. I've got the LG 5K 2K ultra wide monitor. I'm going to try and finish that video up tomorrow. I shot a bulk of it a couple weeks ago. I got a couple parts I need to add on to it, because the more I've used it, the more things I've learned about it. And then I've got 2 big SSD videos coming out. I've got the ultimate SSD guide. Here's just a small pile of some of the SSDs, so you can blame me on the SSD shortage if you want, but I've got that ultimate SSD guide coming out soon. And then I also have a shorter SSD guide, where instead of going through every single one, I just talk about my favorites and make it probably, I wanted it to be a 4-minute video, but it ended up about 5 minutes. But I think that one's going to be super helpful too if you just need to pick something real quick. On live, I don't have no, I do have a teleprompter. I've got some notes on some of the stuff I wanted to talk about, and then the chat's popping up on there too, so that's kind of helpful. And then the Elgato pedal, I just got set up with the Rodecaster S. I've got another Stream Deck over there, but I've been using, but it's a lot faster to just have the pedal where you can change the camera angles on it. And I'm still messing with live streaming stuff. I want to try to do a live stream every single week. I would love to do live streams 2 or 3 times a week, but it'll depend on if the demand is there. And if people want to watch, then I'm happy to do them. I would really like to interact with people on them more, have more chatting going on where I'm able to help people pick stuff out and get a little bit more real-time feedback, because I get a lot of comments asking for help, and a lot of the comments that people leave on videos are things that they could honestly just be Googling real quick, like how long does the cable measure on this and stuff like that. Like, so I would love to just talk about, oh, well, what docking station should I get for my Mac Studio, and be able to say, well, do you want the SSDs in it? Yeah, the Elgato stuff is expensive, but it works really well. They've got plugins for pretty much everything. So with the Blackmagic switcher I had before, you had to use Companion, and you had to put on a Companion plugin for it. And then with the Rodecaster S, I found out they actually had a Rodecaster plugin on Elgato that basically did everything I needed it to almost immediately. So like you can shut the stream off and on. I've got the switcher is like 5 or 6 feet away from me over there. If you want to check out the studio tour, I put that video on, I think that one was on at the end of December or the beginning of January. I can't remember. The live stream setup's not quite done yet, but I could definitely do another video about that. I've actually got a second channel that I'm not doing a very good job posting stuff on it, but it is called Creator Gearbox, and that one we're going through more camera stuff, and there's going to be some other like some DIY stuff, kind of like some of the stuff I used to talk about more on this channel. Really now I focus more on the computer stuff on this channel and don't really focus on the whole video production side of it, but the video production is still very much adjacent to and is a lot of fun. Yeah, it says just check for Ultimate YouTube Studio Tour, how I film content efficiently. That's got pretty much everything on it right now, and I think it shows part of the rig, but I can try to explain it real quick. They actually made a really cool thing too with the Rodecaster where you can put your phone on it. I don't know where my phone is right now, but you can use your phone as an NDI camera, which is super cool to let you move around. And I'm going to try that in a video in the future as well to give maybe more of a behind the scenes live tour of the studio. But basically all the cameras I use go back to one video switcher, and then they're plugged into a computer, which you really don't even need the computer when you've got the Rodecaster S. Like the Rodecaster S is basically a computer. I've got a monitor below my camera that shows me whatever's on the program. Whenever I'm shooting my content, I also use this setup as well, but I use it as a multi-viewer so I can see. I usually have a camera mounted right here that's pointing down, so I can just look forward and see exactly what the camera sees. Got the bigger Elgato prompter for the chat, for outlines of the videos. Keep all the technical, nerdy jargon on that because a lot of this stuff gets hard to remember, all the specific details while I'm going. But yeah, everything goes into the Rodecaster S, and then you can have any computer controlling the Rodecaster S that's on your network. So this computer is actually controlling it right now. I've also got another computer over there controlling it, or I can use my main computer to control it too. So really impressed with the Rodecaster S. I might actually get one for the desktop for my main desk setup as well. I've kind of thought about putting some cameras over there, but I just try to keep everything plugged into it. And then the other thing with the live stream setup that's really cool, this is where I almost wish I got the normal Rodecaster instead of the S, but I have the wireless thing going to my computer. So this is a wireless HDMI, so that's how I was screen sharing, but you can also use NDI. Yeah, the Elgato voice sync, I tried it on some stuff and it wasn't working very well. So when I'm recording my videos, I either use the Magic Trackpad and you can scroll, or I also will use the Elgato pedal to scroll along. I don't usually have it playing, like I'm not reading it. I'm just using it for notes and outline. And then sometimes I just go for a while and ramble, and then I look back to see if I talked about everything that I wanted to talk about, or I might just record some stuff twice. And then when I'm editing at the end, I just use that as time to pick if there was a delivery I preferred, or the other thing that I'll do is I'll just cut out all the ones that I didn't get quite right, or sometimes you got to splice stuff together. So the Elgato is pretty cool. The Rodecaster versus the Stream Deck. So I'm actually using both of them. The Rodecaster Video S is the video switcher, and it's kind of the brains of everything. So that's what all the HDMIs from the cameras run into. And then you can control it with the Elgato Stream Deck. So if I wanted, I could have the Rodecaster laying over here on my desk somewhere, but I move this table around a lot for different shots and stuff. So it makes a little more sense to just have the Rodecaster somewhere where it lives. All the cables go back to the one place. And then anywhere I go, I can either use a computer to control the Rodecaster or the Stream Deck. So like I said earlier, I've got the Stream Deck pedal underneath my desk, and that's what I got set to the different buttons on it. So I can go back and forth between the different cameras. There's a lot you can do with it. You can set like different toggles and stuff too. I feel like I still don't know everything that you can do with Stream Deck. You can also get multiple pedals if you wanted. So you could have like a pedal to your right side that's doing some stuff and a pedal to your left side. I'll probably mount the Stream Deck on the front of the desk at some point too, where I can kind of like reach below it and use it for stuff. But you can also control the Rodecaster directly from your computer. There's an application. You can use it with USB. Or the things that's crazy with this is it actually does the video over the network too. So you don't even have to have it plugged in with USB to your computer. So they did so much with the Rodecaster. I would maybe make a video on it. Honestly, the one Tom Buck put out is a really good video about it. He went into so much detail with it, and I feel like I can't match the level of detail he put into the Rodecaster S video. But yeah, the Rodecaster S has been able to do everything that I've needed it to do. Really, the normal Rodecaster just has a couple more inputs on it, and I could almost use one more input because I've got 3 cameras and then a computer. If I can get the computer to go in with NDI, then it's going to be able to streamline the workflow because I won't have to use this little thing plugged into. Yeah, if you've got any other questions, 11, feel free to drop them right now. I got a few more minutes. But yeah, the plan, at least as of right now, is every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central Time is going to be a live stream. But if people, start commenting and saying there's a different time of the day that they would rather do them, I'd be happy to do them another time too, or just you know, maybe do one in the morning on one day a week and then do the Tuesday afternoon one. I just kind of picked a time. I think I did a poll or two to see what time, and the 3 p.m. worked best with my schedule and worked fine. I try to be done working every day at like 5-ish, so I'm not a big fan of streaming in the evening, but I did some streams in the evening a year or two ago and they were kind of fun, but I got family members, so it just made it kind of challenging to, you know, get back to doing that or to have to wait all day to be able to stream. But I've thought about doing a 9 or 10 o'clock stream, thought about doing lunchtime streams as well, but I'm in Central Time, so it's kind of nice because if you pick the right time, you can hit a wide audience. But yeah, if you got any other questions, feel free to drop them now. I'm happy to talk about them. I was just saying earlier, I've got a couple more videos to edit, and usually I try to be ahead on videos, and I think I've got a couple that are already finished, but the ones I've been working on have been taking a little bit longer, so the video that I want to put out tomorrow is not quite done yet. It's like 95% of the way there right now, so I need to do the thumbnail still and do a couple other things. But I guess that's another thing I can talk about while I'm waiting for you to see if you had that question. But yeah, I keep getting a lot of people emailing me telling me my thumbnails need to be better and stuff like that, but I don't really know. I don't look for much in the tech world as far as thumbnails. I just try to keep it clean and, you know, say exactly what it is. If you've watched many of my videos, you know I'm not really about trying to put a crazy amount of hype into anything. I just like to show stuff how it is. But I've had some thumbnail editors reach out to me and say, you should be doing more with your thumbnails. They're not fancy enough. I don't really care to be in the picture with the stuff either. It's not really my style. But yeah, if anyone ever has any cool thumbnail ideas, I'm happy to hear them. Or if you guys are like, I don't really care what the thumbnail is, I don't care what the title is, that's kind of where I lean. I get a lot of views off of YouTube search, which takes a little bit of time, but there's some stuff like this Atom Audio A7V video. It didn't get a ton of views, but I was pretty proud of everything that went into it, but it might get more views over time. It was stuck at like 400 views for a week for some reason, but it's hard not to worry about views, but sometimes you think about that. Better as far as the thumbnails, I mean, some people, I think there's just that YouTube style where you put your face on stuff really big. Yeah, just leave them that way. Okay, that makes me feel better. It must just be the people that are emailing me that make me feel like it. Carlos, what about the new MacBooks? I mean, that's what we're all waiting to hear, is if they're going to put the new ones out or not. And yeah, it's that time of year where everyone's looking for something exciting to talk about. And the question is, are they going to put the M5 Pro out? Are they going to put the M5 Max out? Are they going to skip ahead to the M6? Are they going to do some sort of massive redesign with them? I don't really know. I would like to see them do some more redesigns. I really like the M5. B&H loaned me one. I tested it a bunch. It was really good. I was about to buy one, but I decided to wait a little bit longer to pick up the M5. But if they put out an M5 Pro or an M5 Max, I'll probably get it. I need another computer that can really handle video editing well. I guess that was something else I wanted to talk about too. The M4 Mac Mini hype. I actually did a video a long time ago, and I think I called it like, is the M4 Mac Mini overhyped for video editing? And I had a lot of people who were commenting and saying like, no, it's totally fine, it's great. But I was having some issues with it bogging down a little bit, doing multicam clips, and just, it doesn't want to load the waveforms as fast as the Mac Studio or even the older M1 Max MacBook Pro I had. So yeah, I'm just kind of curious to see if they can get the base model chips even better, because they can totally handle it, but they're just not on the same level. So I've had some people doing some video editing on the M4 Mac Mini telling me that, yeah, it does slow down sometimes. If you've got multicam open on Final Cut Pro, it kind of stops working. And it's just funny because a lot of people were really hyping that computer up and talking about how good it is. And I think for the money it is, but they said, oh, the Mac Studio has no point, and the M4 Pro Mac Mini is a really good computer. But I tested the M4 Pro Mac Mini. I borrowed one from a friend for a while, and to me, it wasn't even that much better than the M4 standard Mac Mini. So I don't know. That was kind of another interesting thing about the whole Mac Mini saga. But I think I'm going to sign off now, get these videos published so that we got some new content tomorrow. But yeah, every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Come talk about tech, or just listen to me talk about the random stuff I've been testing. Appreciate you.